Hey everyone, are you ready for a really cool story? Today, we're going to find out why the very first month of the year is called January. And believe it or not, it's all because of a god who had two faces.
I mean, really think about it. January. It sounds a little different, doesn't it? Well, the story behind its name takes us on a trip way, way back in time to meet some very important people. That's right, we're talking about the ancient Romans. And they believed that every new beginning was super important. Like the start of a year or even just the start of a day. They thought if you started something off right, the whole thing would go well. So they had a special god just to watch over all those new starts. And that brings us to the star of our story. So let's get ready to meet the god of January. His name was Janus, and his job was to be the god of all new things. Beginnings, doorways, and any kind of change you can think of. The Romans thought he was super wise and thoughtful. Now here's the most famous and, well, kind of weird thing about Janus. He had two faces. Wait, what? Why would a god need two faces? It sounds a little strange, but there's a really clever reason. Don't worry, it wasn't supposed to be scary at all. It was actually a brilliant idea. See, one face was always looking backward into the past, remembering everything that happened, and the other face was looking forward into the future, getting ready for what was next. It was their way of remembering a super important lesson. You have to learn from the past before you can make good choices for the future. Pretty smart, right? But Janus's job was about more than just looking back and forth. He was in charge of that special moment right in between, the moment of change itself. That's right, the actual moment of a new beginning. This is the perfect way to think about it. Imagine you're standing in a doorway. You're not quite inside the room, but you're not outside anymore either. You're in that special in-between spot. Well, for the Romans, that was Janus. He was the god of that moment when you're moving from one thing to the next. And this idea was for everything, not just big stuff like a new year. The Romans thought Janus was watching over the start of a long trip, the beginning of a big meeting, or even the first words of a speech. They even believed that every single time you walked through a door, you were making a tiny new beginning, and Janus was there for it. So, because Janus was such a big deal for all new starts, the Romans had special ways to show him respect, especially at the start of the year. During the month named right after him, January, the Romans would make important promises for the year ahead. They figured that the choices they made right at the start of the year would help make all the other months great too. But these weren't promises like, I'll clean my room. They were about being a good person. Romans would promise to always be honest, to treat other people fairly, and to do their best work. For them, starting the year off strong was everything. They also gave gifts to their friends and family. Things like yummy fruit, special coins, or sweet cakes. It wasn't just about getting a present. It was their way of wishing everyone they knew a happy and awesome new year. Okay, this part is so cool. Janus had a famous temple in Rome with these huge doors. When those doors were open, it meant Rome was at war. But when the doors were closed, it meant there was peace. And because Rome was in battles so often, seeing those big doors shut was a really rare and happy reason for the whole city to celebrate. So all of that happened thousands of years ago. But what's really amazing is that the main idea behind Janus is still around today. In fact, you might already be part of this tradition and not even know it. Just look at this. The ancient Romans made promises to Janus to start the year off right. And today, well, a lot of us make New Year's resolutions. We're basically doing the same thing. The goal is exactly the same. We look back at last year to learn so we can make better choices for the future. This is the big takeaway from the story of Janus. It doesn't matter if it's a new year, a new school day, or just walking through a doorway. Every single beginning is a fresh start. It's a chance to use what you already know to make a great choice for what's coming next. And you know what the best part is? You don't have to wait until January 1st to do this. The idea of Janus reminds us that any moment can be a brand new beginning. So I'll leave you with this question. What new beginning will you choose to start today? Thanks for exploring this awesome story with me.